Nigeria is in a pretty bad place. Heck, the world is in a pretty bad place if we think about it. We're just coming out of a pandemic, and so many economies are suffering with the war that's going on right now that could potentially become a world war. And Nigeria especially is feeling the heat, maybe more than any other country, because our currency is taking a serious nosedive. Now on the black market, the Nigerian Naira is 712 Naira to $1. It's almost unbelievable. Of course, everybody saw it coming, but still, now that it's happening, unbelievable. And we still expect that it's going to fall more, because there are really no measures put in place to save us from this tumultuous time. But whatever happens in a crisis situation like this, it's not the time to start to run around like a headless chicken. It's time to calm down and think. I'm going to try to give you pointers as to what to do in an economic downturn, a recession, or when there is inflation like what we're seeing right now in Nigeria. And of course, this video is going to still be helpful to you even if you're not a Nigerian. Economies all over the world are not in the best of times, so whatever country you live in, some of these tips that I'm going to share can come in handy for you. But of course, I'm going to be talking about Nigeria particularly most of the time. So let's talk about how or why this is happening. Okay, how did we get ourselves in this particular situation? A lot of people still do not believe that the exchange rate directly affects them, but let me try to break it down the best that I can for us to start to understand why this is really scary. Nigeria is 76% a consumer economy. That's crazy. What it means is that we have to survive based on other people's economy by 76%. We have to depend on products, even down to consumer discretion goods like the food that we eat, the snacks that we take, stuff that we buy every day in stores. We have to depend on other countries to supply those to us. We have to buy and import these things. And that's where the biggest problem lies. Of course, there are other factors, but this is where the biggest problem lies. So an importer has to use their naira and convert it to the dollar to buy goods and then ship them into the country before we can now have these things to buy from our stores. So let's say in the last couple of months, an importer could buy a bottle of wine for 500 naira to $1 when the naira was 500 to $1, and that means for $1,000 they can get 2 bottles of wine. Yes, now the dollar is at 712 naira, or let's say 700 naira to $1. That's to say, if the same importer goes back to buy the wine from his suppliers, let's say in the US, he cannot get those 2 bottles of wine for 1,000 naira anymore. He has to pay 1,400 naira to get those 2 bottles of wine. So if he pays 1,400, we're not even factoring in the cost of shipping these things, the custom fees he has to pay. If we factor all of that in, once that product hits our stores here in Nigeria, you and I who are consumers of those products will have to pay sometimes a 30, 50, even 100% increase sometimes to get this product. Don't even think that you're exempted. Maybe because you don't have kids that school abroad and you have to pay their fees in the US dollars or in the pounds. Those people might have a harder time, but everybody is involved. Okay, so enough of the bad news. Let's go into the main thing, which is what to do in a situation like this. But before we continue, I want you to go down in the comment section and let me know what noticeable change, what noticeable difficulty have you seen or experienced since the Naira started to take a nosedive. For what to do, the first thing I will advise you to do is to get a side hustle. Yes, I know it sounds very cliche. You've heard it said to you 1,001 times, but really, if there's any time that you should listen to this cliche, it is now. Start a side hustle. If you have a 9 to 5, you could start a side hustle right now and start to make more money, because the reality of things is your salary may not increase. Your employers will not give you more for the same work that you're doing. So the cost of living is going higher, and your salary is not going higher. If anything, it might even come down. So you need to start a side hustle, especially if you do not have any jackpot strategy. You don't have any jackpot means right now. You can't leave the country. For those of you who are not Nigerian, if you're seeing this video, jackpot means to travel out of the country and, in search of greener pastures in places like the US, the UK, Canada, or anything. But yeah, if you do not have such strategies or such plans, this could be a time for you to start a side hustle, because you're stuck here like most other people. You want to potentially find ways to earn more money. Some of you are underrating yourself. What you have in your hand, it might be enough. Okay, so what can you do? Think about it. What can you do right now? So let me give you a simple strategy. When I lost my job here, I started to look for ways to start a side hustle. I used my church and the skills that I had. And you can use any social group as well that you belong to. Even if you're not a Christian, you might belong to a group. You might know a bunch of friends who can afford to hire your services. And I was actually targeting, it was a very strategic plan. Yeah, so I was targeting children. Yes, that sounds I'm not a pedophile. So I was targeting children, and what I mean by that is I had a bunch of skills. I'm a web designer, graphics designer. I went around in my church and friends of friends, family friends, people who I knew could afford to pay me for me to teach their children the skills that I had. So I taught them computer skills, appreciation, graphics design, taught them content management system. And before long, I had a side hustle. I had people pay me to teach their kids stuff that I already know. And by doing this, I basically created a job for myself that was as good, if not even better, than my actual job that I just lost. So most of you know stuff right now. There's something you have, there's a skill you have that you are just sitting on. This is the time for you to use that skill to start a side hustle. It could directly be to teach these adults or their children or whoever you know that needs your skill. So number one, start a side hustle. Number two, learn a skill. I know it's like going back right now because you're trying to make money, you're not trying to learn stuff, yes? But here's why this is important. It will enable you to start that side hustle, the side hustle we just talked about, and it can also enable you get into stuff like freelancing or get a remote job where you can work from Nigeria for a company in the US and get paid in the US dollars. Or you can get a better paying job when you learn a skill. So this is still always going to be very important for you to learn a skill. And oftentimes, if you are not a skilled person, your potential to make money will be dampened. It will be lower. Okay, so you need to learn a skill regardless whether or not we're in a recession or there is an economic downturn. You should be equipping yourself. Learning is a continuous process. Okay, so number two is simple: learn a skill. I talk a lot about freelancing on the platform, and to be honest, people don't really freelancing videos don't do better compared to some other videos that we do on the channel. People want stuff that they will make money really quickly. Nobody wants to take the time to learn. But to be completely honest, it breaks my heart because this is what you need to be doing. You need to be learning a skill. And another thing about learning a skill is this is the road less traveled. A lot of people do not want to take their time to learn skills. What that means is that's a blue ocean. This is time for you to learn stuff so that you can position yourself to get better jobs, to start to freelance, to get remote jobs, or even start a business of your own. So learning a skill, I will never be able to overemphasize this one. It's so important. And number three is learn about money and become financially intelligent. This is so important. It changed my life when I started to read books. And if you want to start by So you can learn by reading books, you can learn by watching videos like this, you can learn by attending programs or seminars and stuff like that, even online live events online and stuff. You want to just basically consume a lot of content where you learn about making money and also about financial intelligence. Just become more money conscious, because whatever you feed your mind is going to blossom. So if you teach yourself to become more money conscious, and not in a bad way of course, but more financially intelligent, then you will know how to navigate situations like this. I know that it's helped me, the books that I've read, and some of the books I can recommend to you are books like Design is How It Works, for those of you who are into trying to start a business. It's an amazing book by Jay Green. I can't really remember the author's name now. And then read the book, of course, Think and Grow Rich. Read the book The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Amazing books. These three books changed my life literally. So you want to read books, you want to learn through videos and all of that stuff. Speaking of learning about financial intelligence, that's the reason why you want to subscribe to this channel, because of course we do a lot of teaching when it comes to getting financially intelligent. And number 4, which is last but not the least, start investing. Not saving, but investing for the future. And the reason is, if you save money, best case scenario, you get your money back, the amount you saved, yes. Worst case scenario, you actually lose money if it's just sitting there in the bank. But with investing, your money is actually working for you and you're not going to meet it the same. Well, of course, with investing, there's risk of you actually going down if the economy goes down, or if your investment does badly or stuff like that. But of course, there's a huge potential of you becoming financially stable or even financially free because of investment. As a matter of fact, if you read the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert, you'll understand that it's almost impossible for you to become financially free or financially stable if you do not get into the B and the I side of things, which is like the investing or the business owner side of things. Okay, so you need to start to think about learning how to invest, okay, which also goes back to the previous point, which is learn about financial intelligence. If you learn about financial intelligence, you will know these things. You will understand the importance of investing. Saving is great, okay, that's a habit you should build, but take it a step further and learn how to invest. And to that effect, we're going to actually do something about this on the channel. We're going to put out videos on investment. In fact, we're planning a series where for every day in 7 days, we're going to share a video a day teaching you the basics of investment into how to actually invest in the US stock market if you live in Nigeria. And of course, this will also come in handy and very useful for you even if you don't live in Nigeria. But of course, the platforms we're going to share with you would be Nigerian platforms, and most African countries as well can use this. A lot of my African brothers and sisters have been saying I focus too much on Nigeria, but that's only natural because this is the country I know. This is the country that informs most of my content, even though the topic of money is very universal. So keep an eye out for that series, and it's going to be coming your way soon. And also engage with us in the community post that we make. This is where we're most likely going to share information about that series coming up, and also on Instagram, and you can follow me as well on Twitter and anywhere else that you see linked in the description. Okay, so that is all for this video, guys. I hope that you found it insightful. I hope that you found it helpful, and I hope I've been able to spark some light bulb moments for you to not panic in this situation that we find ourselves, but instead strategize and try to beat this wave. Of course, this too shall pass. Thank you guys for being a part of the channel. Thank you guys for everything, the support and all. Leave a comment in the comment section if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions or anything. Leave them in the comment sections, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.